Welcome to Scorpio Soul Time. I'm Ronique, and I appreciate you joining me here on my YouTube channel. Every lunation cycle, we get together and we discuss what is going on out in the universe, and as they say, as above, so below. So whatever is impacting the planets up above is directly influencing us here on Earth. So I do appreciate you joining me here. One thing I was going to say before I get started is thank you to all my new subscribers. I appreciate you all. I finally hit the 100 subscribers mark. So while that's not huge to a lot of people, that really resonates with me. And so I do appreciate each of you. If this information is something that you feel like friends or colleagues or anyone could use, please feel free to share, like, subscribe, and just keep coming back because I do appreciate all the feedback. Okay, you all, so let's get right into it. Today we are going to talk about the full moon that occurs on June 24th, 2021 at 2:39 p.m. and that's Eastern Standard Time, so you can adjust the time depending on where you are on the planet. And at this time we have the Sun in Cancer. To all of you all Cancerians, Sun Cancerians, happy birthday. We literally just moved into, the Sun just moved into Cancer on the 20th. And then the 21st is, or was, the solstice. So this is like the halfway part of the year. So we're at, the Sun is at this 3 degrees and 27 minutes. And then the Moon is sitting across the sky at 3 degrees and 27 minutes of Capricorn. So this full moon is going to be very interesting because this full moon in Capricorn, hopefully I said full moon in Capricorn and not full moon in Cancer. So if I did, I stand corrected. This is a full moon in Capricorn. The Sun is sitting across the sky 180 degrees with the Sun in Cancer and the Moon in Capricorn. And at this time, what is really interesting is that this is the area of our life that we all experienced in late 2019 and into 2020 with all those eclipses. So before we were at this energy of where we are now with the Sagittarian Gemini eclipse season, which usually lasts around 18 months, the previous cycle was this axis of Cancer and Capricorn. And so you may see themes of what you may have experienced back in 2020. Remember, Capricorn is earth energy and represents your physical goals, ambitions in the world, your responsibilities in your daily life, while Cancer is almost like the complete opposite. So it's like, what is your home life, your family? Sometimes it has themes around your mother, kind of like where you were birthed, those kind of energies. So you could see during this full moon maybe some illuminations from back in 2020 and, like I said, late 2019, when you were having some themes around family, around work. This is also an interesting energy because at this same time, or within like a few hours to, let me try to pull up my chart here of the other aspects that are going on. So what's interesting too is that Venus is here at 27 degrees of Cancer as well. So this could also be definitely information around your finances. Venus is a energy that's also a earth energy, but also anything dealing with your health, your physical world around you. And then with that moon down here in Capricorn, you definitely might have some information that is illuminated. And these can be themes that maybe are drug up from last year or the year before. At the same time, Mercury is now going direct. So Mercury is no longer retrograde. So Mercury in Gemini here at 16 degrees is now going forward. So this could be a really interesting full moon time, because it could be a lot of, remember the moon is when the sun sits across from the moon and is illuminating or bringing information or bringing light to something. And especially during this Mercury retrograde time that we had in Gemini, I think there was a lot of confusion, a lot of information that wasn't clear. So this could really be an illuminating time of information around work, home, family, your daily responsibilities, earthly possessions, your health, because like I said, with Venus and the moon both being those in Cancer, with Venus and the moon being in Capricorn, it will be interesting to see how that Cancerian Venus and then that Capricornian moon, with them both in those earth signs, play out in our daily lives, because I do think that there's going to be this energy around information coming out that maybe was hidden. I mean, maybe you were going to get, you know, health tests, or, you know, maybe you were trying to get healthier, or you're trying to get your finances in order. So this really might be a good time that you find out more information around all of that. Okay, so I pulled the Devil card because this is the Major Arcana number 15 card, and this is the Capricornian card. And I call the Devil card the like in your feelings card, because it really is that card of like the ego and the you know, the Devil is one of those kind of like your ego or your mind is almost like you're in the analysis paralysis, where you're thinking through everything too hard. You feel kind of like chained to some kind of ideals, or you're not able to move forward or see like what the real picture is out in the world, because you're so focused on your ego and what you want to happen, as opposed to just like letting things happen. So in this full moon in Capricorn, I really want you to make sure you're not over analyzing things or trying to project your own views onto what you want the situation to be. And this can be around those themes I was just talking about, whether it's at work, in your relationships, goals that you have made. Since we are at this halfway point of the year with that summer solstice, this is a good time to check back in on your goals and what things that you maybe wanted to start at the beginning of 2021. We now literally have 6 more months until we come to the winter solstice. So this Devil energy, I think, is really on point, if you will, with Capricorn, because Capricorn and Cancer both represent those signs of where you are at the midpoint of the year, of the calendar year. So like Cancer, you know, we have this Cancer sun now, we're in June, we're at the summer solstice, and then 6 months from now, we have the shortest day of the year, you know, December 22nd, when we have the winter solstice, and then the sun is in Capricorn. So this really is a good time to kind of like check in with not only your goals and like what has become illuminated since the beginning of the year, and what do you still need to either maybe course correct now that you're in, you know, 6 months in. Maybe you've reached those goals and it's time to start new goals. Like the full moon is really like this illuminating time to figure out what is it that you've been maybe chained to a certain ideal or the way things were before. And now it's time to course correct or make new goals for the rest of 2021. Okay, you all, so we're going to do the singing bowl. And a lot of you said you really like the singing bowl, so I'm glad that it resonated with you too. I love it as well. So we will clear our energies. And this is really a nice opportunity to like I always tell people, like, whenever you hear or whenever you like watch the video for tarot is like the right time for you. Like, you don't have to always watch the tarot readings like right during that season, because I also find sometimes like you'll look back on certain videos and you'll be like, oh, that's when this happened. Like sometimes when you're actually in the moment, you don't realize things unfolding until you look back on it. And so I do invite you to like go back to previous playlists on Scorpio Soul Time, especially since this is going to be this full moon in Capricorn. I invite you to go back to the eclipse season playlist on Scorpio Soul Time. There you should be able to find the solar and lunar eclipses that were on that Gemini, oops, I just said Gemini, that were on that Cancer and Capricorn axis from late 2019 and into 2020, and just re-listen to those and see if any of those themes resonate with you now, because we're definitely going to have some resurgence of some of those themes. All right, so I'm going to ask you to think through anything in your life that you maybe want to get more clarity on today with this tarot reading, around your finances, around your health, around any of those Capricornian themes, your daily goals, what things you're trying to strive towards. And the same with Cancer. It could be any goals that you have around your home, your family, your children. Just think through those so that we can clear our energies here and get started. Okay. Angels, help me clear my energy. All right, perfect. All right, you all, so let's get started. So today I really want to focus on work information, like career related information, as well as what is it in our daily lives in home life that could be coming to light at this full moon in Capricorn. I think that full moons are also sometimes about closures, because I feel like, you know, when things get illuminated, you realize, okay, it's time for me to move on from that, or this is no longer working. So I really do want to focus on a past, present, and future spread, and what is it that we maybe need to let go of? What information do we need in order to bring light to maybe some situations around those Capricornian and Cancer themes that we spoke of? Okay, I really am excited that we are past Mercury retrograde, because that was quite a doozy for me. I don't know about you all, but I'm ready for things not to be quite so confusing and slow. But sometimes it's kind of like, be careful what you wish for, because then everything comes flying at you and you're like, oh, I kind of like that Mercury retrograde. All right, so in the past, we have the Ace of Swords in reverse. In the present, we have the Ace of Cups in reverse. Well, that's pretty cool to get two aces. And in the future, we have the Eight of Cups in reverse. So very interesting. Everything is in reverse, and I see some air energy, some water energy, and I also heard pull the last card of the deck, and there's the Hierophant, Major Arcana. And actually the Hierophant we just had when we had the last reading. I think it was during those eclipse videos. And I'm going to look real quick because I think that when we had that new moon solar eclipse in Gemini, we also had the Hierophant. So there must be something in this reading. I just want to let you know that, remember that new moon solar eclipse we had on June 10th in Gemini? That energy is going to be at least for 6 months. So there's still going to be some type of energy around maybe some kind of governing agency, or maybe your boss, or someone who has some kind of rituals or themes of governance either over you, your finances, it could be banking. But I do invite you to go back and listen to any of the eclipse energies because they're still going to be with us throughout the rest of 21. So interesting that that came out underneath of the deck. So let's get into this reading. So I think it's really interesting that we got the aces, because the aces are always signifying some kind of blessing or energy of maybe something is going to be coming to you, something maybe that you didn't expect, something that you're stepping into. So with the Ace of Swords, but in reverse, I think it's interesting too that swords are the energy of air. And so remember, we still have Jupiter in, let's see, did Jupiter move back into Aquarius? Jupiter moved back into Aquarius and is at 2 degrees. And remember, Saturn is in Aquarius. And we literally just came out of Gemini and that whole Mercury in Gemini and also the Sun in Gemini. So lots of air energy. So I really feel like this Ace of Swords, there's something that was either brought to you that was like out of the blue that you didn't expect, but maybe you didn't know what to do with that information, because with it in reverse, it's almost signifying to me like there's some kind of clarity or information you were seeking, but you weren't able to get it. And maybe you had questions about something. Maybe, like I said, around that Hierophant, maybe you were trying to get information from your boss, or you were trying to apply for a loan and couldn't get information. I mean, this really to me is that whole Mercury and in retrograde in Gemini, where it was like this air energy, but you couldn't, you just couldn't get any traction on any clarity at that time. But remember, you could have gotten good information, because remember, aces are usually like blessings. So you could have gotten some really great information, but maybe you didn't know what to do with it. So that's what I'm getting from that past Ace of Swords in reverse. But in the present, now we have another ace, but Ace of Cups in reverse. And the Ace of Cups usually symbolizes some kind of emotional energy or water energy. And remember, Cancer, which the sun just moved into, is going to be really about emotional energy. This could be, like I said, about your mother or female themes in your life. This could be some kind of emotional bond to your family. It could also deal with a Scorpio, Pisces, or Cancerian in your life. But to me, since it is an ace, that also is symbolizing there's some kind of blessing of emotional, maybe gratitude that is due to you. But since it's in reverse, maybe this is what you're seeking. Maybe you haven't gotten it yet. Maybe that Ace of Swords that's in reverse from the past, you're still trying to like strike this balance of like information versus like how do you emotionally feel about that information. But maybe it's still not clear at the time of this full moon in Capricorn. So I think that this is like a really positive energy from the standpoint of like they both are aces, but in reverse usually means like there's still some kind of like you haven't stepped all the way into it, or maybe you're still waiting for it, or maybe you're over analyzing like, okay, what does this mean? When am I gonna get it? So I think that this is definitely this energy of like, be patient. Don't try to rush it, blessings are coming, like maybe the seeds that you've planted in the past are like working under the surface, but maybe they just haven't manifested for you to see them yet. And then in the future, we have the Eight of Cups in reverse. And so the Eight of Cups is this person who is like kind of like, I guess call it stealing away in the night. They are the Eight of Cups, more emotional energy, but usually it symbolizes moving away from something. This could be a physical move, or it could be like you're emotionally moving away from something that was like turbulent, or something in the past that maybe didn't have, like you've moved on. You're no longer like emotionally attached to it. And with it coming right after that Ace of Cups in the present, I'm almost feeling like where you are now in the present at this full moon in Capricorn, maybe you're not going to be as emotionally attached as you move through this cycle. Maybe this is a cycle of you letting go, because remember, since it is in reverse, maybe this is either something like you haven't been able to let go, you're still in the process of like, you could be analyzing some kind of event that happened and you need to let it go. There definitely needs some clarity here, because when I pull the other cards for clarification, I want to see if this Eight of Cups is something that you're stepping into from a standpoint of like, you used to be worrying about something, but then these blessings have come, but maybe you're kind of impatient and haven't really seen the fruits of your labor yet. But it'll be interesting to see if this is, maybe if you're someone who's like moving apartments or moving homes, or maybe you're moving away from a relationship. It also could be with this Cancer Sun and Capricorn Moon, this also could symbolize something around your home life or your work life. So let's keep that in mind as we pull some clarifiers, because I'm really interested to see, like, it's not often that I get two aces back to back, but then they're both reversed. So this to me is symbolizing like something really good has occurred, but maybe you're not you might not be envisioning it, or you might not be taking it as good, but it's almost like you have to move away from something emotional in order to see it. But let's pull some clarifiers just to see the kind of like just get some clarity on that Ace of Swords and Ace of Cups in reverse, and then that Eight of Cups in the future. Another thing I was going to tell you all is on June 23rd, which is like the day right before this Capricorn moon, Jupiter and the Sun are going to make a trine, which could be like really good luck for us. It could mean blessings. It just kind of depends on where Jupiter and the Sun kind of sit in your own chart. But that's kind of like some positive news, right? It's always nice to hear about nice trines that happen. So Jupiter in, let's see, Jupiter is in, moved back to Aquarius, and then the Sun is in Cancer. So just depending on where those planets fall in your birth chart, you might hear some good news that also could be symbolizing some of this Ace of Cups and Ace of Swords energy. So maybe that's also what it's alluding to, is some really positive energy coming up. So let's pray for that. All right, so we're gonna cut the deck. We're gonna get some clarity on that Ace of Swords in reverse, that Ace of Cups in reverse, and everything's in reverse. So I think that's interesting too, because anytime all of the cards are in reverse but the bottom card was upright, that to me is symbolizing like you're working through something that you haven't figured out, almost like a puzzle. Like you have those last few pieces that you need to find, but you need them all to go upright. But until you either deal with this overarching theme, or you figure out maybe a new way of doing something, a new way of thinking, a new way of feeling about someone, to turn these upright. So yeah. Oh, okay. And look what just fell out. The devil. So this is our Capricorn card that we were talking about at the beginning of the reading. So basically, this is like you're all in your feelings. Like, this is the Capricornian energy, but this is like something in your crawl you can't get over. And I don't know if it has something to do with like that Hierophant energy, where it literally is someone, some entity or something is kind of like keeping you from being able to move forward. But this Capricornian energy is very strong for it to have just flew out like that. So keep your mind from getting too in its own feelings. Try to like look at things in a better light. And the Page of Swords just fell out. So Page of Swords, Ace of Swords, some kind of younger energy possibly, but also you could be getting messages about where to either move forward, or the Page of Swords also could mean some type of information that was due to you in the past. Either you didn't understand it and you weren't able to like make sense of it. That's what I was saying before with that Ace of Swords. But there's something from a clarity standpoint that you are seeking, and hopefully it's gonna be on its way since it just flew out like that. And it makes sense with all of the Gemini, you know, just coming out of Mercury retrograde for that whole Swords energy, because we've had like a lot of Gemini. So that makes sense. So let's clarify the Ace of Swords. So we have the Seven of Cups in reverse. So more energy of confusing, don't know what to do, options, maybe nothing was clear. So that pretty much falls right in line with that Ace of Swords. Ace of Cups. So we have somehow we're not seeing the blessings that are right in front of us with that Five of Pentacles. And in the future, we have the Judgment card, number 20. But I'm glad to see it upright, because that means that we are, some kind of karmic blessings are on the way, but maybe you just don't see it right now. So let's take a look at those. Very interesting, because I think it's interesting to see how there was these blessings, but maybe we don't even see the blessings, because the Ace of Swords and Ace of Cups reverse, remember I told you it's like the universe is giving you some information, some clarity, but you don't see it or you don't feel it. And that's what I'm trying to see. That's exactly what I'm saying here with the Seven of Cups. So the Seven of Cups is, you can see this like dark figure and you can't see anything on their face, like they're kind of in the shadow. And then all of these different cups represent like different parts of your emotional world. And so it's kind of like you're in a fog, or you have too many options, or you're not quite sure. You have to make a decision, but you're not able to make a decision. With it in reverse, it's almost like that mixed with the Ace of Swords goes back to that clarity, not being able to have clarity. Maybe you were presented with too many options, and it's almost like you had, like I said, the analysis paralysis. Goes back to the Devil card. There is some kind of information or emotional energy that was tied around some kind of decision that you were seeking clarity, but you weren't able to get in the past. And then in the present, this Five of Pentacles with this Ace of Cups in reverse is symbolizing, if this was in reverse, this would have been a lot more positive, because it means like you're moving away from this energy of like not realizing what you have. With it in the upright position, it's like these two You can see these two people are like, one is on crutches, this other one like they're in the snow. They're passing this church where these 5 pentacles are like illuminated in the stained glass, but it's almost like they're so into their own selves that they don't realize that they could go inside, get warm, maybe, you know, talk to someone to help them with their, you know, their status right now of, you know, not being homeless or out on the street or whatever. And so 5 is that energy of conflict, but also like the conflict could be with yourself. But with this being pentacles, I'm finding it's around resources, around money. Remember what I was saying about Venus and Capricorn during this time is like, you might have themes around your money, your health, your daily goals. Maybe you're feeling like you're not on track. And with it being with this Ace of Cups, it's like there's something that you're not feeling good about. There's something that there might be blessings, but you just don't see them. And so I think that that is like an important theme of this Capricorn full moon, is that there's going to be some kind of information that comes out that is going to help you figure out what you need to move away from. Because remember that 8 of Cups is, like I already said, you're moving away from something, or maybe you're trying to figure out what you need to move away from. But I'm really happy to see the 20 Judgment card, because the 20 is this karmic, like, I always call it like the pearly gates, you know, when you arrive, you know, ready to like enter heaven. It's like this angel is like, okay, were you good in your life? Let me open up this book and see, okay, I'm looking through all of your, you know, lessons you've learned and lessons you didn't learn. Like, are you free and ready to like move on to like the higher portion of your life? And so I really do think this is positive, because it's almost like you're moving away from something emotionally that wasn't working for you. But I also feel like, since this is Capricorn dealing with goals and things that you need to work on with yourself, there's almost like this tug of war with yourself, because it's kind of like there's this energy of the page where it's like some kind of messages and clarity are trying to come through, but you're so focused on like your own, well, he said, she said type thing in your head. Like, you're trying to figure out like, how do I move forward? Maybe it's this, maybe it's that, instead of just taking the time to move away emotionally. Maybe you're too connected to, there's something emotional here that you're like too wrapped up in yourself to like move forward, if that makes sense. It's like you're stuck. And I'm gonna pull one more card, because I feel like there's like some kind of energy around, especially like when that 5 of Pentacles came out, there's something around like you're too wrapped up in like what you physically see. Like, I keep going back to that Capricornian physical world goals. There's something in your life that you're like hung up on. Like, you don't feel like you've done enough. You don't feel like you have reached the goal maybe in a certain amount of time. Maybe you had like weight loss goals in the beginning of the year, and now you're so focused on like you hit a plateau and you can't figure out how to move forward, and you're just like too in your own ego to like realize like, okay, well, maybe you should celebrate like you have lost, you know, 10 pounds. Instead of you saying, well, I thought I was going to have lost 20 pounds by now. There is this energy around blessings have come to you, but it's almost like you're too focused on the wrong things. That's what I'm hearing. You're too focused on the wrong things. You're too caught up in your ego. Okay, Spirit, give us one more card, because I feel like there's some last message that you're trying to tell us. Perfect. So the 9 of Wands. The reason why I say this is perfect, because it's almost like that energy that I was saying, like you're like looking back over your shoulder. You're worried about what was in the past. you're almost to the end of this finish line, but it's almost like you're just worn out. So you're like tired. You're just trying to figure out, where is it that I'm gonna like end this cycle? And I think this falls perfectly right here with the Judgment card, because it's almost like you've reached the end. You're trying to like get to this karmic place where you can like enjoy the rest of your life, but you're just too stuck in what you've been through. Your feelings are hurt, you're tired. So I really encourage all of us during this full moon in Capricorn on June 24th, really look at yourself, really look at the last 18 months of your life and figure out what themes have been reoccurring that this full moon is trying to show you. I think there's some kind of lessons to be learned here in terms of, where is it that the universe has been trying to kind of like send you signals? Maybe they've been people, maybe they've been circumstances, themes in your life, but maybe you need to either move away from those emotional themes, or you need to figure out how to make a decision. Because there's a lot of like ambiguity here, and with all these reversals, it's almost like you're not quite certain. You're not quite like feeling strong enough, Nine of Wands, not really feeling strong enough to be able to get past some of these blessings, but maybe you're not seeing them as blessings. So it's going to be a very interesting full moon in Capricorn, because I feel like a lot of us, especially that 2020 year that was so rough on many of us, I think this Capricornian energy really is like that, you know, analysis paralysis, two in your head, you know, let life happen, but don't be afraid to like take chances. Don't like feel like you can't move away from some old thing, because right now you're stuck on, you're too stuck on what you see here. You're too stuck on like, I didn't get that raise, I didn't get that promotion, or I should have been able to be further along in my health routine. Like, you're too stuck in this Five of Pentacles. And we all need to get to this Judgment card where it's like, okay, you have lived a good life. Now you're going to reap the rewards. You're going to reap the karmic blessings that are due to you. But in order to get here, you're going to have to get out of this Nine of Wands. Like, I'm just tired. I just feel like I couldn't, you know, I couldn't get there. I mean, I feel like I'm almost there, but I'm not. So be careful with that whole ego side of your head in this full moon in Capricorn. But remember, I'm really excited about that Jupiter and Sun trine on the 23rd, right before this full moon in Capricorn. So I think it's going to be good. I just think we all are going to have to kind of check ourselves, especially with that ego part of Capricorn. And like I said, go back on Scorpio Soul Time and look at the eclipse videos from late 2019 into 2020. Look at those Cancer and Capricorn eclipses, because that's 18 months worth of energy that I think many of us are going to revisit during this full moon in Capricorn. Okay, you all, thank you all for joining me here on Scorpio Soul Time. I look forward to seeing you all later. Hit the subscribe button to find out when I post next, and I will see you all later. Thank you. Bye-bye.